and we're streaming. Egads, it's 4 o'clock and we're streaming. Egad, I must be dreaming. Egads, y'all. Hey, did everyone have a delicious weekend? Was everyone's weekend delicious? It's important for that to be the case for all of us. Because unless you have a delicious weekend, I've got to tell you, friends, it just ain't right. I got to switch profiles here. I got to switch profiles to this fella right here. Nasty old, dirty old Raid. Nasty old, dirty old Raid. Michael Burrell in the house. Greetings to you, my friend. Carl, what's going down? I like that kind of talk. And my name's Gregory Stephen Koch. I'm going to go over here and share to a group. Oh, shush. Oh, shush you. All right. All right, y'all. Here we are. We had to reassemble a little bit in Orange Room here because we were out and about this weekend playing Spirited Jams for the peeps. Spirited Jams for the people. Spirited Jams. We got Sweden in the house. We got Brazil. We got a lot of people from a lot of places. Do I like to use fuzz, Stefano asks. Every now and again, I'll use a little bit of fuzz. I got a few different ones I dig. I like that Jam Pedals fuzz phrase. I got a Joe Bonamassa signature Dunlap fuzz that I really like quite a bit. I got my buddy from Big Knob Custom Effects. He made me a couple fuzzes. One that's like the Jimmy Page fuzz from the Yardbirds. I dig that. Hello from Tulsa. Greetings. Living on Tulsa time. Can you dig it? And yeah, there we go. I've been having fun playing this Gil Paris guitar from Reverend. My buddy Gil Paris has a signature guitar. This is his third iteration, I think, and it's got my, well, not mine, but I did help voice these pickups, the Fluence single width pickups. I did plug in my pedal board today, so today I think, here, I'll just show you what I got. Pretty simple, actually. I've got my little heat pedal that I did with the Andertons. I got my Gristle King pedal. That pedal's actually made. My buddy Tim Yarning designed it, and it's made for us by the Fishman folks. And then, you know, for years, I've used a bunch of different delays. I have used a Boss DD3 probably since 1986, or whenever they were first made. 1986, probably 87, something like that. But I like to use a couple different settings on it, so I do like a little throw and go pedal board with just a couple things on it. This kind of all does the trick. The clean boost on the Gristle King is quite awesome. This is just the amp, the Koch amp, just the clean channel. Add that clean boost. Up, so if I used it with the clean boost, it's just kind of more of a glassier type of word. I use all of them together. Sounds fuzzy. Pretty nifty, huh? Pretty nifty. The Gristle King, you can, I have a few of those left at my website. I think we've got like 20 more in stock. And then we're going to be waiting a while because we got to manufacture more. But the little heat pedal you can get from Andertons, and they got a ton of those, and those are relatively inexpensive. Ford Thurston played with Allman Betts, did he? Good old Ford. He plays great. He's a good fella. Mike Rakowicki in the house. You can hear us on 81st Street. Mike Rakowicki, the Fighting Rakowicki. Dun, 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 dun. Bring me back. What does Saruman say? He says something like, "Go eat. Tonight you will feast on man flesh." The Fighting Rakowicki. Yeah, that's the stuff. Steve says, Camp T sounded good yesterday. Well, thanks, Steve. You know, we had a little problem with the PA there. We were apparently, something was going on. But I know we did what we could do. Play some Zap, says Robert. I like that kind of talk. Can you dig it? Hello from Houston. Greetings to you, Robert, down in Houston. We got Kevin and Eau Claire. Greetings. Let's play a little bit. What should we play? Let's play a little something. What's that?
Let's do some Zeppelin.
Yeah, I don't really have the right guitar for the Zeppelin, but I suppose that's never stopped us before. Which one?
Achilles' Last Stand.
Oh. Let's see. What could we do? Just play a groove and we'll groove out. Great little jam for the kids. This is not a signature set. This is the standard Fluence set for a Strat. They're called the Fishman Fluence single width pickups. They do come stock on this guitar, though, which is a Reverend Gil Paris signature model. Kevin says, what do we have to do to get you to play Eau Claire? What's a good club to play up there, Kevin? It's been so long. We played, although that one's outside of, that place outside of La Crosse. It's the name. It's those two, it's Lucy and Ethel's, or Essel and Thurman's, and Bertha and Clyde's. Something. Ernie and Ethel's. I think that's outside of Eau Claire, or La Crosse, though, which is a bit farther away. So you'll have to remind me of where in Eau Claire there is to play. Can you dig it? Steve says the PA issue. The whole 2-mic thing in the front row dancing was just added entertainment, right? Oh, Lord have mercy. There was trouble. But it was a great event. I loved the environment yesterday. I thought it was a great vibe. That park, the weather was perfect. We were treated great. The food was good. It was a nice facility. I dug it. Can you dig it? Prevage and Polly's. Yeah, that's where we need to play up there. Prevage and Polly's up in Eau Claire. Prevage and Polly's, you better beware. Would you like to think about putting a set of single widths of the Nashville-style telly? You know, Matthew, we've thought about that. The problem is we got to figure out when we, like, for instance, with my telly set, we'd like to do various iterations. Maybe put one of these single width single coil or middle pickups in that set would be awesome. Do one with one of the classic humbuckers in there, certainly one of my new P90s in there as well. That would all be awesome. But we're just trying to keep up with the demand of the ones that are currently available. Supply chain issues in the US of A. Oh, what you gonna do? Wow. Did you hear that? Song called Supply Train Issues in the U.S. Actually, the supply train issues, not just in the U.S. of A. It's all over the doggone place. My buddies at Koch Amplifiers are having a hell of a time getting some supplies. Ian was 62 yesterday. Happy birthday to you, Ian. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the mighty Ian. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to the mighty Ian, to the mighty Ian. That was a spirited happy birthday to our friend Ian. 62, doggone it. 62 years old. Ken Susie in the house, say what? We know an individual, his name is Ken Susie. Wow. How about a neck humbucker, single coil Fluence in the middle in a gristle mat? You know what, Tom, the sky's the limit. Given time and resources, all of these dreams will be fulfilled in the world of Fluence pickups. And people's wishes and desires. I think there's probably some room for MacGyvering some of that stuff if you're handy with a soldering iron and a slide rule. I don't have any of those things. A soldering iron or a slide rule. You know what I have? Gumption. Got a little bit of that gumption, Dylan. Remember that? Chippewa Valley Blues Society also does a Tuesday in the park. It's over now, only a summer thing. Kevin, I didn't see your first. Were you mentioning a club that might be a place that we could rock to its foundations up there in Eau Claire? Because we'll come. I'll turn it over to our booking agency, the mighty True Grit out of Austin, Texas. Andrew Hall and Mike Krug at the helm. They will take the horns. What? They'll take something. They'll take the phone or the computer by storm. Find the individuals in question and say, book that KMT right doggone now and give them millions of dollars to do so. And everyone will go, hooray! Hooray! It's not all about the money, Dylan, but it is a little bit. That's my line. Gary says, I enjoy jamming with my sons also. It's a beautiful thing, is it not, Gary? The Pablo Center, big venue. The Pablo Center, is it like Pablo Cruz? It's time to find a way in the sun. You know what, Kevin? I am not actually coming to the UK in the fall. We decided to cancel our tour with the trio. Josh is still coming, though, because it's just him. His situation is different. We'd have the whole band with us, have to do a bunch of different stuff, and we just decided that we're going to have to reschedule. We're going to have to reschedule. So I think Scott McEwen is doing it in our stead. You know what, Kevin? We played the Joint years ago. Years ago, I played the Joint. We used to go there when we go to the Eau Claire Jazz Festival. And funny story about the Eau Claire Jazz Festival. If I could tell a little story. Dylan, is it wrong to tell a little story? It's one of the reasons why I don't drink anymore is because I used to drink a lot. Although I'm not going to say I was a slothering mutant, although on occasion that was the case. Let's just say, people say, did you have a drinking problem? I thought, I had no problem with drinking at all. That was the problem. So anyways, back in the college years, our combo and our big band was formidable. And so we went to the Eau Claire Jazz Festival, which was a big deal back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. So we perform in the morning. You perform like at the crack of dawn. You get on a bus. You go from where our school was in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. You go over to Eau Claire. It's a couple hours by as the crow flies, I reckon. We get there. The jazz band plays, and then our combo plays. Now, we had known from the past that it was a fairly political situation, as really all music competitions are. Not that I'm judging, but I totally am and just did. Anyway, so on this particular occasion, things lined up and we won. Well, we didn't think we were going to win. So what did we do? We went over to the Joint, this bar in question, and began to consume gratuitous quantities of fermented entertainment. Now, I'm not recommending this activity, ladies and gentlemen. This is when you're young and stupid. So I was over there getting croissant with a combination of God knows what. And all of a sudden, someone comes into the bar and says, the big band won and your combo won. Well, this was both joyous and horrible news because now I had to somehow get back to Centersville to be able to play the tunes. And we had picked out some challenging selections. One of the combo tunes is this Yellow Jacket tune with this soli that we all play together. Oh, for the love of cry-eye. So I began to consume coffee on a Herculean level and went back to the Eau Claire whatever facility and just sat in a stairwell and practiced until my fingers actually worked again. And then we performed that very evening with great aplomb, I might add. But I was a little hungover for that performance, but persevered, ladies and gentlemen. So there's a good old-fashioned Eau Claire story for you. Can you dig it? Dick Betty in the house, oh, Dick Betty. Now he's supposed to finger, oh, Dick Betty. Now he's supposed to finger, his finger had a child. Dick Betty, well, oh, Rod Bunny, bam, 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 oh, Rod Betty. Yeah, there you go. Yes, Michael Burrill. He says, nothing more rock and roll than blowing off your awards to go drinking. Well, this is true. Back in the day. There's the Children's Museum in Eau Claire if you'd like to censor Dylan's colorful orange room language. Oh, yeah, there's it. Can you dig it? 265 Albar Jones wants to hear. We can definitely do that. Yeah, I've been sober for a long time, Mike Young. It's been a while. But there were stories of wanton wretchedness back in the day. Don't drink and jive. That's a fact, Jack. What do we play? Keep going. Wow. We took that 265 tune from the land of shuffle to the land of funkificatian.
No, it's 365.
Now it's 365. I like it. It went from 265 to 365, an all-encompassing, all-year-round funkification. Maddie K in the house. Maddie K, greetings to you. Maddie K.
How did that name
Maddie
come
K.
about, 265?
265, that was, I was in a bar, and here we go again. Here we go again. Drake was in a bar back in the day. It was a bar called the Yacht Club in beautiful Stevens Point, Wisconsin, ladies and gentlemen. And don't get to thinking it was some kind of an opulent haunt with people with, you know, ascots and fine suit coats. It was a frickin' hellhole down by the square in beautiful Stevens Point. But it was one of the only bars in Stevens Point where you would actually hear some good music. So we used to hang out there quite a bit. On one particular occasion, I was hanging out with my buddy John Griffith, and it's a naughty thing. Anyway, I paid him $2.65 on a dare, and he did it, and I lost, so I had to pay him the $2.65, and it was a sordid bit of business that I do not wish to share right now on the air. But just use your imagination of what college people might ask another college person to do in a bar, and they did it, and I paid him $2.65. So there you go. No, $2.65. This is college. I didn't have $265. I had $2.65. That's back when you get like quarter taps. That was a bounty. $2.65. That's some drinking money. Oh. All right, how you doing out there? Everybody good? I am using this Gil Paris signature model from Reverend, which comes stock with Fishman Fluence single width pickups. You can purchase, of course, these pickups separately and add them to whatever guitar you have, and they work well. But they do come stock on this guitar. I did help voice these pickups back in the day. It's going back quite a few years now, actually. But I love them. I think they sound fantastic. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Can you conclude it? Matty K 265. That was some 4 old Milwaukee drafts. Oh, you betcha. I remember you should be able to buy a case of Wretched Bush beer for like $5 at the local beer depot. $5 for a case of beer and the runs. Sorry. Hey, that's probably more than you needed to know. That's probably more than you needed to know. Today, just so you know, folks, today I decided to use some pedals instead of my usual just straight into the amp. I am going straight into the Koch amp, but I am using one of my signature Gristle King pedals. I'm using the clean boost on that. Here's just the amp. Adding a little bit of delay. Clean boost on here. I can go over here to the little heat pedal and that pedal I did with our friends at Andertons. You can get those through their website. They actually ship them over to the US of A like lickety split. I remember when people were ordering them when they first came out, and they're like, I got it like in a couple of days. From the UK's, they got it in days. Anyway, sometimes it's fun to just go straight into the front end of the doggone amp. And yeah, you know, I do like a little bit of, but you know, what's funny is I use a bunch of different delays, and there are so many good ones out there. But I have used a Boss DD3 forever, and every time I go back to it, there's 3 settings I use on it, and I can get to them lickety split. So if I have to bring like just a small pedal board, I usually bring an overdrive pedal, maybe some kind of rotating speaker simulator, and this one delay, because I could just go down here and go, okay. If I switch settings on this beast, I can just go like this, go over here. That's a little tonus diabolicus. That tone goes back a ways, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote that song a long time ago. It first appeared on the first Tone Controls CD. It's the old CD of mine that's kind of the sepia tone with the tone controls flying over the city of Milwaukee. It was back in 1993, but the tune itself goes back to like 90-ish. 90, 91, I came up with that tune, I think. And what's funny is that people always compare it to Cathedral, but I hadn't, that wasn't really where I heard it from. I actually was at a NAMM show, and I was walking around, and I walked into the Yamaha booth, and Blues Saraceno was playing something where he was using a volume, doing kind of a similar thing, and I was like, well, that's cool. So then I went home, and I was leaving a message on my answering machine, because that was back when you would leave messages, guitar playing messages on your answering machine. Everyone did it back in the day when you had an answering machine. Now, of course, you got voicemail. No one gives a sweet crapola about that. You just kind of go, yeah, whatever, and leave a message. But back in the day, it was like, you know, you were concerned about your presentation. And I left that message. I was just messing around with the delay. I left that message on my machine. Like, I'm not in right now, but if you leave a message, I'll get right back to you. And people kept on leaving messages going, dude, you should make that into a tune. So I did. Way back in the day, we What's funny about that era of answering machines, so that's when we lived on the east side of Milwaukee, kind of the hip and, you know, everyone, where all the bars are and stuff, or a lot of clubs we played at, lived on that side of town. When I got back from Minneapolis, I needed a job real quick, and I ended up working just to pay the rent at a debt collecting agency that was owned actually by a guy who was the dad of this gal that I went to high school with. And he was a character. He would always say, you see what I'm saying? You follow me? You follow me? You see what I'm saying? And his name was Jack Wild. Jack Wild. Hey, you follow me? You see what I'm saying? Follow me? You follow me? You see what I'm saying? He said it all the time. Dylan, he said it all the time. And I'll never forget when I was going to quit. I was like, you know, I got to go. You know, I'm a musician. That's my main thing. And I got to, you know, be playing. So, you know, I'm going to give my notice or whatever. I was getting ready to leave. And he's like, boy, I had an image of you in the future. You know, the story, you know, all of a sudden be on the movie screen. And there'd be like a freight train, you know, moving, you know, or a passenger train going down the line, smoke and the light. And then the cities going by, like Milwaukee, Detroit, New York, Washington, D.C. Story of your life. You follow me? See what I'm saying? Yes, Jack, I see what you're saying. But the guy that trained me at that job was a guy by the name of Mr. Deniston. Mr. Deniston had a very interesting approach to debt collecting. He'd like, Rosemary Muldowney, this is Mr. Deniston. We see that you have a outstanding account with McCorkindale and Associates. Did I say McCorkindale twice? I'll just, you know, with Doohickey. With Doohickey and Associates, and a balance of about $55.74. Are you? Payment in full. And then he would hang up on her. So he would get quite. He'd start off all professional like, but his name was Mr. Deniston. So years later, in the era of me having my answering machine, I've moved away. I've gone a couple different places. I haven't worked for this guy for years. Totally out of sight, out of mind. I'm living on the east side. I leave that crazy answering machine message. And also one day I'm checking the messages, and he's looking for somebody other than, must have had our same number at some point. Sue Rivenswegel, this is Mr. Dennis. This, you know, I need to write a song called Mr. Deniston. And Mr. Deniston had a sweet Cadillac. I remember leaving that. But first of all, the whole office kind of had a Glenn Ross vibe to it. I swear you walked into the door and it was black and white in there. You know what I mean? I had to wear a shirt with a collar and stuff. I was sitting at the screen. It was horrible. I didn't last long. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to give my note. I knew I was going to be going sooner than later, but I hadn't given him a date. And then my buddy Bill Young got back from Europe. He went on one of these things after high school where or after college. He's like, I'm going to Europe on a Euro. He was gone for like a year and a half, just kind of sleeping in fields and pillaging and whatnot. He got back into town, and he called me, hey, I'm back in town. I'm like, no kidding, let's go to lunch. So I get off my heinous debt collecting job, and I meet old Bill for lunch. And of course, it was a liquid lunch. And it was decided, after spirited imbibing at that luncheon, that I was never to return to that collection facility. So, but it was a hell of a day, and next several days, as I recall, or don't recall, but be that. I don't encourage anyone to do that, but can you dig it? Mr. Dennis, this is Mr. Deniston. Like Mr. Crowley, exactly rich. Exactly correct. Anyway, you got the idea. This is Mr. Deniston. You know, we don't have a name for that shuffle tune yet. Maybe we should call that Mr. Deniston.
Which one?
We're just calling that B. I think we should call it Mr. Deniston.
You got to start it off then with like an answering machine.
Yes.
That song.
I should. It's like Rosie Flickwinkle. This is Mr. Deniston. Betsy Lansmcgoigle. This is Mr. Deniston. We see that you have an outstanding account in the order of $574 to Blue Hockle and Associates. Oh, here we go. All right, I'm gonna switch my delay setting, which I was going to do on the fly like I'm doing right now. And just go. Payment in full. This is Mr. Deniston. Rose McClingan-Cockle. This is Mr. Deniston. follow me? Follow me, see what I'm saying? Whoa, Mr. Deniston always collects. That's correct, Evan. Thank you. We actually recorded that one for the new record, but we just have it as B Shuffle. Now it's going to be called Mr. Deniston.
You should name the record Mr. Dennis.
Perhaps. Mr. Deniston always collects. Payment in full! It's always important, payment in full. Payment in full. Payment in full. Payment in full. Maybe do a rock opera called Mr. Deniston the Musical. Payment in full. Here comes Jack Wild. See what I'm saying? You follow me? Story of your life, follow me? But it was funny about both those two guys because Mr. Deniston was very hardcore and kind of go for the juggler, like intimidate, whereas Jack Wild was more of the good cop. Mr. Dennis was more the bad cop. They had kind of a complimenting style of deploying money out of people who owed it. And I just stood back in horror. I stood back in horror. That's right, a follow-up to Up Now. We could have that sucker ready actually pretty quick. We don't have to add any more tunes to it, really. We got some good ones on there. The Orange Church is on there. We got Mr. Deniston. What else is on there? There's some good ones.
Hot Curly.
Hot Curly, that's on there. We got the, oh yeah. That one's on there, that's a good one. Did we record Hey Bat yet? No, we didn't, Michael. We should do that. Hey Bat, get your creepy ass out my house. Get your creepy ass out my house. A battle cry for the ages. Someday I want to hear Drowning on Dry Land live. Ooh, we do that one relatively often. In a live situation, we do it. And although someone online didn't like our version because they thought I was saying drowning. Maybe I said drowning. Why not? You know what? With blues lyrics, it's always important to be able to say them exactly how you want in the moment. I don't think there's a spell check for a lot of our blues songs. Am I right or am I right? Not that I'm judging the judger, but I kind of am. You know what's weird is that if you judge the judger, it just kind of erases the whole thing, right? Judgment here, judgment on the judge, it just disappears. There's no judgment at all. Karma, judgment, karma. Mr. Deniston would say, he wouldn't cotton to that. He'd want payment in full. It was too artsy-fartsy. Yeah, I think that's the same guy. No, it was a different guy. Yes, Michael, you are correct. There aren't enough words using feces in the lyrics. You're exactly correct.
That's right.
Yes. You should do Amnesiac Bangle. Yeah, that's not a bad title as well. We do have a Amnesiac. Actually, we got a Bangle from Hell. That's what we got. His name is Bill Cat. Someone has drowning in judgment. You are correct, Dave. Thank you. I'm drowning in rage. I'm drowning. Nothing wrong. Sometimes you just got to drowned. Bill wants to hear a little Unrepentant. We can do that. We'll do a quick little Unrepentant for you. I'm kind of interested to hear what it sounds like. I'm going to switch over to my other guitar here. And I'm having fun with pedals today. If you're just tuning in, I'm using overdrive pedals instead of the amp overdrive. And I'm now going to plug into my recent my recent signature guitar from Reverend. I have 2 guitars out now with them, both featuring different Fishman pickups that are also signature, which just worked out great, I think. Although I did was kind of interesting. An old Fender associate chimed in on one of these things online talking about the new guitar, saying, "Come on, Greg, it's just a Telecaster ripoff. Why stray?" Well, number one, it has features on it that I wanted to do with Fender at the time, especially when I have my new pickups, but they wanted nothing to do with me, old friend. So, but I found new friends that were more than amenable, and it's worked out swimmingly for everybody. And if we're going to talk about...
And you didn't invent it either.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't invent it either, my friend, Paleo.
Profiting off a dead man.
Well, okay.
That's basically what it is.
But hey, it's all good. It's all good. Am I right or am I right? Listen to that frickin' beef. For the love of Pete. That fills me with a sense of wanton lust. Nicholas, that's an excellent idea. A podcast with Vernon Reed. I just kind of shouted out to him on Twitter, and he responded. And because I saw him playing at somewhere, I was like, "You guys sound great." He's like, "Oh, thanks, yada yada yada." So I would love to have him on the podcast. I need to start up with the podcast again. So that's an excellent suggestion. Thank you. I got to get Doyle Bramhall on there as well. Good old Doyle. Need to get him on. And yeah. Can you dig it? That's a tune of mine called Unrepented. Don't forget, folks, I'm trying to remind people to follow us over on, well, certainly on the YouTube channel. It'd be great if you guys could follow. But on Spotify, all my records, all my old catalog, with the exception of maybe one, is up on the Greg Koch channel. But then there's also a separate Koch Marshall Trio. That might be amalgamated at one point in time, but it was hard enough getting all the various different iterations of my other bands over the years. Greg Koch and the Tone Controls, Band, Trio, Other Bad Men, good Lord, it went on and on and on. And they all had separate channels. And so in order to get them all under one fell swoop, we had to take them off, redo the artwork so that it would say only my name on it, but it would do it for some and not it's a freaking nightmare. Anyways, these are first world problems. It's all up on there. So if you go to Greg Koch and follow it on there, you can hear all of the various records. Unrepentant is the name of a record, which that tune is on. The version we do with the trio is a little more, well, it's more like what you've been hearing. So, but it's still a good version on there. It's a little more laid back, and the tempo's kind of farther back. But certainly Welch's Grape on that record is worthy of, and Sweet Tea is on there. A tune called Funk Force 5. But 265 is on a record called Strat's Got Your Tongue, which was originally released back in 2004, but then my buddy Joe Romanola from guitar label Grooveyard Records re-released it with different artwork, and so we've got back control of it. So that's up now on my channel, as well as currently the latest one we've re-upped was originally under the Greg Koch band. Now it's just Greg Koch. Plays well with others, and that has a bunch of tunes I co-wrote with a singer-songwriter by the name of John Seeger locally here, who's great. Wrote a bunch of tunes for all kinds of folks. But him and I wrote a bunch of tunes together, and he's singing them. He's got kind of a Dylan meets Mark Knopfler on the highway to Tom Waits vibe to his voice. I dig it. And Paul Barrere, actually, from Little Feat, the late great Paul Barrere, sings one of the tunes on there as well. And he's on about 4 tunes. Robin Ford's on about 3 songs. Joe Bonamassa's on a tune. Roscoe Beck's on a bunch of the tunes. Brandon Tempo on drums. And the mighty John Cleary of New Orleans fame plays on a tune called Spanish Wine, plays piano. And that's a good record. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you like records, if you like music, if you like music, you might like some of the stuff that's on there. Dating back many years now, but there's all kinds of different flavors on there if you're listening in time. And have you tried the Trio Plus? Maybe I should. Anyways, folks, thanks so much for tuning in today. We appreciate it. Dylan back there on those drums. We will see you again. Hopefully be back in time for the one on Friday. We've got a Wildwood shoot tomorrow. I have to go down and do something at Sweetwater on Thursday. I'm doing a workshop. If you live in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, I'm doing a workshop, guitar workshop thingy. You can go to their website at Sweetwater and sign up for it. It's going to be fun. I'm going to show all kinds of secret tricks and stuff and hang out, play a few jams. That's Thursday night, this Thursday down in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So if you live in that neck of the woods or close, come on over and we'll hang. I'm also going to do some other stuff during the day there. And then hopefully we'll get back in time to do the live stream on Friday, which will probably be the case. Ian, happy birthday to you, my good man. And have a good one, y'all. We'll see you later.